Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our YouTube channel of Doc Sources, where we do analysis on the shipping world. We also delve deeply into the port operations and the entire logistics chains that defines the logistics and supply chain. The logistics and supply chain is very important in as far as movements of goods and services into and outside the region is concerned. And it is very important that we look at the quality of services offered under this logistics chain so that we are able to see which areas are weak and which areas that give us the best strengths that enables us to move volumes and volumes of cargo. In this analysis, we deal with the ship operations at the port once the cargo arrives, and also for the loading of cargo as it goes for export. We look at the volumes. We look at the regional economic performances, so that defines the volumes that passes through the port. And like I've said earlier before, the statistics of the port defines the economic performance of the region. For instance, from the port statistics, we would know how much import cargo have come into the country and have come into the region. It is also through the port statistics that we know whatever exports, and we're able to analyze and see what percentage of the export compared to import. And we're able to know whether the regional market or the regional economies are definitely what we call the net importers. And that is not very good for any economy that is growing. Although from the major journals of economics, we understand that the East African region is the fastest growing economies of Africa, which is good news. But we'd like to see it will grow further by enhancing export cargo, and for the port operation enhancing its transshipment volumes. These ones will make the port of Mombasa even more attractive to the shipping lines. But as I come back on the analysis today, it is very important to take note, and this is very, very important because the port of Mombasa previously has not been doing very well in terms of turning around these vessels, and also key performance indicators that indicate that our performance has not been very good. But we have seen from the beginning of this year, there is a major improvement in port performances. So much improved that now we have got, up since January up to now, we have got 5 new vessels making their maiden calls to the port of Mombasa. 5 big vessels making their maiden calls. This one implies very clearly that most shipping lines are now preferring the port of Mombasa as a transshipment hub for their cargo that is moving to the regional ports, but being made the hub at the port of Mombasa. Remember that Salam had been going through serious vessel congestion, and this had a spillover to the port of Mombasa. And for a while, Mombasa was struggling to cope with the spillovers from the port of Dar es Salaam, and they did that perfectly well. And I would like to say kudos to the port of Mombasa for having shown market improvement. Mombasa port is a very interesting case study in terms of performances, because performance of the port is basically determined by the quality of leadership that are at the port. And previously, we had very good top management of KPA, and the performance were good. But at some occasions, we had very poor leadership at the port of Mombasa that made performance go down. But as it stands today, we have got a homegrown top management, people who have been in the system. They understand the inside, the depths of port performances from the time of shipping up to the time of port operations and the evacuation of cargo from the port to their interior destinations. And because of that, they have been able to build up strong teams that are able to keep up with the good performances at the port of Mombasa since the beginning of this year. I would like to encourage them to continue with that, because if you get 5 vessels making a maiden call at the port of Mombasa, then that one is a strong message that Mombasa is now going to be a hub for distribution of transshipment cargo from port of Mombasa going down to Dar es Salaam, going down to Zanzibar, even all the way to Durban, not to mention Port of Djibouti, and also up to the Horn of Africa. So the Port of Mombasa needs to sustain this kind of good performances. But how do you sustain some of this good performance? How do you sustain? By ensuring that the strength that they have in equipment, the strength that they have in the skills of the operators, the strength that they have in creating good working morale and incentives and motivation for the staff is sustained, so that the output, but productivity, will maintain high, sustainable, and predictable. As we look across the competition, where it's going to come from, especially from the Central Corridor, we, like I said before, we must start thinking of counter moves that are going to ensure that we sustain our transshipment position, that we sustain our transit position. The other day, the first train testing of the electric train from SGR were moved from Dar es Salaam to Morogoro. From Morogoro, the SGR electric train will move to Tabora, and then from Tabora, they'll branch off to Kigali, to Bujumbura, to the DRC, and of course to Mwanza, port of Mwanza, where the inland waterways system will take the other leg of the logistics chain through the waterways to Port Bell in Uganda and Kisumu and Port of Kisumu. Therefore, we must be very careful as we improve on our port performances, and yet we find that we might still lose volumes if they prefer to use the electric train, which is even faster than our standard gauge railway diesel propelled train that might not match up with the speed. Like I've said before, speed of delivery of service is the essence of which logistics are moved. It's about the lead time. At the time orders are given out, up to the time orders are fulfilled, that's the lead time for which defines the entire logistics chain. What the Port of Mombasa needs to do is top management and its strategic managers. They need to have a very close working relationship with the Northern Corridor. They must have a very close working relationship with the Kenya government in terms of advocacy for the improvement of the corridor, so that we don't lose out because of an efficiency that is going to come up from the port of Dar es Salaam and all the way logistics way up to the Great Lakes. Remember, the DP World has already moved into the port of Dar es Salaam, and therefore congestions that we witnessed at the close of the year last year will be a thing of the past. And therefore, Dar es Salaam is not going to take it lying down and let Mombasa run away with the trophy for performances. And therefore, we must be prepared to not only further enhance the performance that the Port of Mombasa is doing right now, but also ensure that they have strong advocacy for the movement of cargo through the corridor, the Northern Corridor, that now links up with with Eastern Africa and the Great Lakes. Remember, Somali has now become the 8th member of the East African community. So this is a big bloc that has got over 250 million consumers, and therefore a big trading bloc. Now, once Somalia has moved into our region for the economic bloc, then you can be sure that there will be enhanced competition from the port of Somali. There will be enhanced competition from the port of Djibouti. Ethiopia right now is struggling very much to find a linkage to the Indian Ocean. There's been challenges with the port of Djibouti. They have been trying to make a linkage through Somaliland, which of course has got dispute with the Republic of Somalia, and therefore maybe they are looking south towards the port of Mombasa. This is the time for the port of Mombasa to take real advantage of the situation that is affecting the Republic of Ethiopia, and move in to provide solution for their logistics for all their cargo passing, going for their import and for export. Remember, 75% of Ethiopia's cargo used to be moved through the port of Djibouti, but now they are trying to relocate elsewhere. And that means 75% of Ethiopian economy, that is massive volumes of cargo that Mombasa would do very well to try their best to see if they convince Ethiopia to move through the port of Lamu or through the port of Mombasa. The linkage between Mombasa and Ethiopia is well defined. It's only the linkages from the port of Lamu that still needs to be upgraded, needs to be completed, so that it shortens the distance from the port of Lamu to South Sudan and to Ethiopia. Now, coming back to the port of Mombasa and about the sustainability of the performance, this analysis would wish to advise that perception is everything, and therefore, when we break records on a particular vessel, then it gives a great perception of the major improvement of performances. But breaking record is on one vessel. If you would break records in all the vessels, then that's what sustainability is all about. We'd rather have a certain level, for instance, of 40 crane moves per hour on all vessels, yeah, instead of breaking a record on one vessel, and then we does poorly on the other vessels working at the same time on different berths, although their performances is never reported. So sustainability is key to maintaining the superiority of the port of Mombasa against competitive ports of the region. And based on the strategic location, Mombasa still would get the best advantage. The government, through advocacy of Kenya Ports Authority, should also move into quell the mistrust that lies within the East African community, for the best reason of making sure that Mombasa and Kenya get the best advantage in logistics and supply chain for the region. Like I said, the consumerism of the region is massive, and therefore we should not bring in small politics that can interfere with already the existing market share that Port of Mombasa holds for the Great Lakes region. Please subscribe to this channel. Give us press on the notification bell, like it and share so that we can increase the audience of this channel. I would also like to get comments, quite a number of comments from our viewers, so that we are able to analyze further from the comments that we get from our viewers. And these comments are taken very seriously and very important, and they almost all the time form the basis for our next video. Thank you very much. Please subscribe again and share, like it, and also click on the notification bell. Thank you very much.